The longer you sit on the sidelines, the faster you fall behind. I think at the end of the day, when you finally do make that decision to jump on board, but 5 other operators have already taken advantage of it, you're also trying to now play catch up.
This is All Things Fitness and Wellness, hosted by Krissy Vann. Together, we're uniting industry thought leaders and fitfluencers on the mission to inspire innovation and encourage people to live a life fit and well. What if the biggest threat to your business in 2026 is not choosing the wrong technology, but avoiding the decision altogether? Welcome to another episode of MarketFit presented by AmericanEagle.com. I'm your host, Krissy Vann, and today we're talking about the tech stack decisions that will shape how operators succeed in 2026. With so many tools and platforms in the market, it can feel overwhelming to evaluate what's actually worth your investment. Do you build custom? Do you integrate? Do you wait? This episode was recorded in Chicago ahead of the Fitness Technology Summit. I sat down with Tony Steen of AmericanEagle.com and Ron Benamor of DX Factor to unpack where operators should invest, what to avoid, and how to choose technology that drives revenue and improves member engagement. If decision fatigue has been slowing down your growth, the conversation will give you clarity and direction on how to move forward with confidence. This episode is brought to you by AmericanEagle.com. Empower your digital presence with AmericanEagle.com. From cutting-edge web development to data-driven digital marketing, AmericanEagle.com delivers measurable results that will accelerate your business forward. Get started with a website and SEO health check. Contact AmericanEagle.com today. I am so excited to be back in Chicago, and a huge thank you, first of all, to AmericanEagle.com for having us in their HQ, in their podcast studio. And the conversation today is coming up on the heels of the Fitness Technology Summit. So this is where all operators, decision makers are coming together to talk about the latest in the technology space for fitness business. And the conversation today, I'm so stoked to have these two legends because it's all about tech stack and 2026. Because if we're going to be looking at what's available out there, the last thing we need is another conversation that remains high level and leaves us at the end of it not really sure what direction to take. So, Tony, I'm going to let you introduce yourself first, but no stranger to the ATFW podcast.
Yes, Krissy, thanks again for having me. I'm so excited and honored to be on this episode of ATFW. We are going to be changing the dynamic of the conversation for this episode a little bit, kind of veering away from sort of digital marketing, which has always been a hot topic over the last couple of episodes, and getting into that technology stack overview, analysis, and recommendations. So, been in the fitness space for going on 12 years now. Which is crazy to think about, but have been in the digital marketing technology space for going on 2 decades. So thanks again for having us, and excited to be here.
Thanks, Tony. And Ron Benamor, last year at the Fitness Technology Summit, I put you in the hot seat with a camera on, lights, camera, action. Your clip played all over the Fitness Technology Summit's promo materials for some time. Then I had you on a podcast, and you were so informative over what was happening in AI. And as I understand, this is podcast number 2 for you?
That is true.
Right on. Well, you're joining us from DX Factor. Tell the audience a little bit about what you do there.
Yeah, so I'm the director of sales at DX Factor. So what DX Factor does at a very high level, we are a digital transformation partner for health and fitness operators. And we help them accelerate that transformation with a unique blend of products and services that are infused with AI. So we like to tout that we have about 30 to 40% of the top 100 working with us to accelerate that digital transformation.
Well, I appreciate you both because there is a challenge for operators as they head into 2026, and really a conversation that I'm sure you both have heard a lot of throughout this year, as have myself. And it's that when it comes to the tech stack, it's not a matter of selecting one of the right tools. It's also figuring out as an operator what's going to work seamlessly together. And then in addition to that, anytime you're making changes in your tech stack, this is a big conversation for them in regards to investment and what the ROI is going to be. So from both of you today, we're going to kind of hone in on some of the best tools, best practices. But I'm curious, what trends or challenges from each of your unique perspectives are you seeing how fitness businesses are managing their tech decisions right now? We'll kind of kick it off with you, Ron,
please.
because I'm sure, especially in the sales side, you hear the rebuttals or questions of the why behind these decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the challenge that I see from a lot of operators, and me and Tony were alluding to this earlier, is this idea of not making decisions quickly and having this trepidation or hesitation to at least embark on new technologies. There's a quote from The Sopranos, and I know I'm mentioning Sopranos a lot today, but it's like my favorite show. But Tony says to Carmela that more is lost by indecision than a wrong decision. So operators, I would encourage you guys to at least, if there's a big challenge that you have that you feel it can be solved by technology, embrace that new technology and take that leap of faith. Because if you don't take that opportunity, you're kind of not giving yourself an opportunity to at least learn from that. So that's the biggest thing that I see. I had a conversation with an operator last week where we presented to them AI, and he said to me, this AI is going to solve so many of my challenges, but I don't want to be the first operator to use it, because he's worried that it's going to cause more, and this AI is not even touching the members. So take that leap of faith. That would be like, if you look at the fitness industry as a whole, they're a laggard because they don't take that leap of faith. So that would be not necessarily like a specific challenge, but a theme that I see with operators is not taking that leap and trying new technologies when it's easy to implement, easy to onboard. So
yeah, I think almost, and we'll kind of dive into it through the conversation, but in the past, it's been a little bit more difficult to make those transitions, and the onboarding has maybe been a clunky experience. So you can understand why there's a bit of that hesitancy sometimes, but that's why education is so important, to say the game has changed in the equation. How about yourself, Tony?
Yeah, I was so excited to hear Ron bring that up, because we've been dealing with it for years. And it's, from our perspective, obviously the longer you sit on the sidelines, the faster you fall behind. And with AI and the rapid evolution of AI and how it's really sort of changed the dynamic of everything we do today, it's you sit on a decision for one day and it feels like you're a year behind.
Yep.
And I think at the end of the day, when you finally do make that decision to jump on board, but 5 other operators have already taken advantage of it, you're also trying to now play catch up. So I think that's spot on with what I'm also seeing and dealing with from operators in terms of that trepidation. But the other big eye-opening experience for me, or something that I feel like is something that all operators need to sort of take a step back on and really think about before making decisions, is, how and why am I layering on new tools and new technology and new investments for this particular one problem? One thing that we try to establish sort of a fundamental understanding around is, one solution for one problem might work at that point in time, but if it's not solving multiple issues, or that data is not connected to everything else that you have within your technology stack, then you're literally investing in a temporary solution that now is going to live in a silo. And I think we got to simplify. I think we've sort of been inundated with technology and software for the last, call it, decade, and everyone's got a solution for one problem, but it's built in a silo. That decision's made in a silo. And now we're fast forward to 10 years and we have an immense amount of tech debt. We have multiple solutions that don't connect or communicate with one another. And that's kind of the thing that we got to get back to. We got to get back to simplifying our technology stack. We got to focus on connecting the dots between your marketing automations, your CRMs, your engagement tools, so that we can make better decisions moving forward.
Agreed. And I want to add one thing to that, just on simplification. Also simplifying the way you buy things. One of the things that I see from operators that tends to drive me a little crazy is having so many cooks in the kitchen when you make a simple software decision. I've had a conversation with the CEO. The CEO wants to put me down to the director. The director wants me to talk to the PT, then the front desk. All these people don't need to be involved in a simple software decision. Keep it simple. You're the leader. Get a small advisory, 3 or 4 people in your company, and execute and do quickly. I mean, it can be that simple.
I do want to kind of tease here toward the end of our conversation. I think it will play well into an announcement between the both of you, AmericanEagle.com and DX Factor, working on some really exciting things for the future when it comes to implementing something seamless into your tech stack. So we'll leave that nugget there, but let's talk about some of the other tools. Obviously, marketing automation has changed completely. AI's come into the picture. So when it comes to marketing automation, there we go. Can you tell that we had an early flight this morning and the espresso hasn't quite kicked in yet? Say it 5 times fast.
Yeah.
What platforms are really leading the way for fitness operators right now?
I think it's safe to say that there is a solution for what feels like everything. And a lot of times operators will get sort of software happy, license happy, and then eventually look back and say, well, why did I invest in this again? Like, oh my God, I'm spending this much money on these licenses and I don't even need it anymore. So I think when we look at the technology being used now and sort of what's to come in 2026, there are a handful of solutions that I really feel are cutting edge and are going to really help shape the way for the fitness industry. Some of them are being used today seldomly, but I think it really could change the game for this industry. So first of all, when thinking about marketing automation, CRM, and one thing that I want to reiterate is how important it is for fitness operators to have a CRM that they can trust in, that truly becomes that source of truth for their organization. But HubSpot, we were just at Inbound a couple weeks ago. We're a diamond partner of HubSpot. We know the ins and outs of how to maximize a platform like HubSpot. But it's a CRM-driven automation tool that can absolutely provide you guys with full funnel tracking. From the first click all the way through somebody signing up to become a member, and then that journey beyond that where they are, really focused on building loyalty and advocacy. Klaviyo is also an incredible tool that is more for marketing automation, specifically with email marketing, SMS, RCS, and some of the advancements that have come out with AI within their platform in the last 2 weeks is going to change the game for fitness operators specifically. It already has in the e-commerce space, and I see so many use cases for how this can really help enhance that customer journey within the fitness segment. And then Hotjar is the other one that I wanted to mention. Hotjar is often overlooked within your technology stack because CRO and sort of user behavior experiences hasn't really been as sort of top of mind as it has within the last year because of the world of zero click that we are all sort of future-proofing ourselves around. But Hotjar is an awesome, very cost-effective tool that allows you to really understand the user journey, understand the behaviors that are being taken on your site from your prospects or existing members, and it gives us a lot of data on how to really improve the customer journey and increase conversion rate. So those are really the 3 hot sort of tools that I want to talk a little bit more deeply about today. And then, of course, Ron with OMAP and Concierge, I can't wait for you to kind of share some insights around that.
Back to the conversation in a moment, but first, a quick note if you want your marketing to do more than just exist. Invest in digital marketing strategies that actually work and maximize engagement with your members. Rely on the team at AmericanEagle.com to drive real results for your business. Contact AmericanEagle.com today to get started.
Just to your point on HubSpot, whenever we evaluate or operators evaluate software systems, CRMs, I think there's 2 or 3 things that are the most critical right now today. Number one, what's their investment look like on AI? Are they infusing AI in all their products? And if they're not doing that, then they're already going to be behind the curve. So that's number one. Number 2 is the integration capability, because there's a lot of systems out there that are, like to Tony's point, very siloed, that don't communicate. HubSpot, I think, has maybe 1,500, 2,000 integrations that they have out of the box. And then outside of that, Zapier connectivity can get you to anything. So that's number 2. And then the extensibility of the platform. I don't want to steal thunder away from marketing, but as a sales guy, that's what we do. HubSpot has sales capabilities, marketing capabilities, all interconnected. So So you have that single lens to see a holistic view of the marketing and sales function. So I see 10 years ago, nobody was using HubSpot as a fitness operator, but now I'm seeing more and more operators implement HubSpot. So that definitely, to your point, HubSpot should be a tool that you should consider.
Yeah, well, and I like, even as you highlighted at Inbound, some of the tools that other industries have been using and have been so effective. And then finally, fitness is realizing, oh, hey, there's actually a strong ROI for us. So you want to get a little bit more granular about these platforms.
I know we talk a lot about digital and sort of technology, but there are also tools that I think are really, really interesting as it relates to kind of rounding out your entire omni-channel strategy. One that I actually wanted to mention was a new tool that I learned about a couple weeks ago at a conference. It's called Postpilot. And the use case for how Postpilot connects with Klaviyo or HubSpot or some of the other marketing automation platforms that exist have really been built around e-commerce and retail. But as I put myself in the operator's shoes and think about the need to be able to connect with their prospective member or their existing member with the right message at the right time on the right channel, this Postpilot platform could be really, really interesting. So what is it? It is a direct mail solution that syncs directly with your email marketing strategy. And you might be wondering, like, well, direct mail, that's like super old school. No one's using direct mail anymore. But that's so not the case. I know fitness operators rely heavily on door hangers and grassroots marketing efforts. But with the way that I was thinking about how Postpilot could be leveraged, I enroll into, let's call them Midtown Athletic Clubs. I enroll as a new member for Midtown. And not only do I get that thank you email for enrolling, but within 24 hours, I get a handwritten postcard from the CEO of Midtown. They're a high-end club. I spent a pretty good penny on becoming a member with my family of 4. And now I get a handwritten postcard from the CEO of Midtown, or what feels like from the CEO of Midtown, because they actually have robots analyzing the handwriting of executives that can then turn this into an automated experience directly with HubSpot. The other use case that I was thinking about is an abandoned cart experience. I go all the way through the join online process. I'm getting ready to sign up for a gold member. Then I see all the pricing that's broken down. And although it was only $30 to enroll, I'm actually spending $200 to enroll because I have to pay for all these other sort of expenses or dues that weren't necessarily told to me up front. But I leave that cart and I go into that abandoned cart series where I get maybe 3 emails directly from a HubSpot or a Klaviyo or whatever marketing automation tool that exists. Well, after I get through that series, I also now receive a handwritten card with the tier membership benefits that I was interested in and a reason why I shouldn't wait to sign up today. And it's completely handwritten again by the CEO. The way that they can connect the dots between your digital experience and your physical experience, to me, is quite unique and something that I think could set a lot of fitness brands apart.
Well, and it's interesting because even before this, Ron and I were talking about just the conference narrative that we've had over the last year or two, and you hear AI, no one really getting super granular about it. And then personalization, we beat that to death as well. But that's really the definition of keeping the experience personal. And I think there'll be a craving amongst consumers because there's a healthy skepticism of, am I just dealing with robots all the time? And then they might not even realize they still are, but it gives them that personal touch. When it comes to the marketing team, where do you think human judgment will remain key as we implement more and more of these tools? Or maybe your opinion is that human touch will have less value over time?
I don't think the human touch is ever going to have less value because we know what works. We know what we want out of an experience. And the operators have to be able to meet that end user where they want to be met. And I know we have used that terminology before, like many of times. But the days of me trying to, build a website, build an app, implement an automated strategy because of what I think my customer wants is completely different than what my customer actually wants. In fact, Ron shared an experience earlier today that he had with a brand that took that handwritten card approach to the experience, and it was not using Post-Pilot, but I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about.
No, it was Chewy. Everybody knows Chewy, but when my dog passed away a couple of years ago, they sent us a handwritten letter saying, so sorry about that. And now everything that we order for our new cat is from Chewy, because that resonated with me. So I think to your point, as AI increases, and it's increasing exponentially, the desire and the need for human interaction is also going to increase, because people are going to get tired of everything being robotic and personalized and automated. We're craving that. We're humans after all. So what we see, and this is with our clients, is that we're not using AI to replace any human being. We're using them to augment their current role. So like a good use case is, I want to plug in our concierge agent if that's okay, but that sits on the site, answers questions, and the result that we've seen from operators is a significant reduction in inbound calls that, for a lack of a better term, are stupid. Like, what are your hours of operations? What amenities do you have? People don't have time to deal with these calls. So instead of having 1 or 2 call center reps just handling those, let AI handle that stuff, and then go out to the floor and give some real human touch. Go shake hands with their members. Ask them about their goals. What can we do better? That's what people really want to see. And I think that's going to increase more and more over time as we see AI overtake everything from like what we do in person to digital experiences. So we are humans after all, and we crave that human need. So don't let it replace any human being.
No.
Let it augment and support your staff.
Exactly. It's not a strategy.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's not a strategy. It's a supporting tool. But to that concierge agent example, I'll use that example for another sort of business outside of the fitness industry, because I think it's incredible. And one of the things that we're so excited about being able to help push concierge agent forward with a lot of our clients in partnership with DX Factor is the reason is the example that I'm gonna share right now. So there's a company that everybody I think should be aware of by the name of Away. They were like the most innovative suitcase brand. They actually made like traveling and buying a suitcase fun for the first time in decades, and it's because they really built a brand that's around an experience, not just luggage. But what was so neat about an experience that I had recently with them was within the Klaviyo platform. I actually interacted with a post on Instagram, and Away was able to use Klaviyo to recognize the fact that my Instagram profile was tied to my account within their marketing automation CRM. And they immediately shot me an email. I didn't interact with the email, but then within 24 hours, I got a text message with the exact item on Instagram that I interacted with. And it was, something personal around, hey, Tony, saw that you were checking this carry-on suitcase out. Are there any questions that you have or anything that we can help with? And there was a little arrow right next to the image of the suitcase. So it wasn't just a contextual SMS. It was literally had the image of the product. I clicked on the little arrow and it opened up a chat window right within my SMS feed. And I immediately was able to start asking questions within text message to this agent, which could absolutely be the same experience through concierge agent. And through that 5-minute interaction that I had with them, it got to a point where that agent was actually going to be able to make the purchase for me, and that carry-on suitcase was going to arrive at my front door. I didn't have to lift a finger. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to go to their website. Everything happened right within my text message app on my phone.
Yeah, I mean, that's fantastic. And back to the theme of simplification, this simplifies the buyer's consumer process, because they don't have to go and jump through all these clicks on the website or do a Google search. Everything's in this like one centralized platform to make a decision. And the AI benefit is not just personalization, it's the speed to personalization, because you're getting it out quickly. So you make a buying, like by the time you would get an email historically, before pre-AI, a personalized email, you've already made a decision. Now it's happening instantaneously, and we live in a world of instant gratification. I want what I want now. So that's the beauty of AI.
We know that the more windows people have to click through, the more windows of opportunity there are for them to reconsider, get distracted, and before you know it, you've lost a sale. So I think it will be a tremendous game changer, especially when you think, I mean, a little bit off topic, but when it comes to, solidifying a new membership at a gym, we think of what the process has been like for the consumer typically. You're going on a lengthy tour, and it has, unfortunately, a negative connotation to the experience too, due to some bad players in the past. And so the more that we can streamline, all of a sudden, boom, you have your membership, or something that I know you advocate for on the cancel side, retaining memberships, which is kind of where we were going to kind of segue to here in regards to member engagement, because gone are the days that everything's just happening on your website, how you had it designed. There are layers going on beneath that are aiding in member retention, closing those deals. So Ron, this is really, really your wheelhouse. So describe a little bit how that tech landscape has changed and where operators need to focus when they're building their tech stack.
And I think where operators need to focus, and I'm going to tie this into American Eagle, but focus and double down, triple down on your website, because that's an extension of your business. That's a product that you own. So a very simple thing that you can do, and I hate to keep tying in the concierge agent.
We're here, so we're here for it.
But when you add like an agent to the buying process, you think about this. Like, if somebody had a buying question before an agent is available, what would you do? You would call the club. Maybe somebody doesn't pick up. Maybe you would get somebody that's rude on the phone, whatever it may be, but it could deter you from making that decision. So we've implemented our concierge agent with a large California fitness brand. And we found out last week, anybody that engages with that agent converts at a rate 2 times higher than if they didn't engage with that agent. Why is that? Is because if they have a question about the membership, whatever it may be, they're getting it answered immediately. And also on top of that, it's simplifying the process. So it's like taking them through that entire flow without going through a lot of clicks. So that's a very simple, easy thing to do. And you don't have to do it through us. Like, I'm not scared. I mean, there's Hey Libby, there's Hire Bob, there's other competitors out there that do the same thing that we do, obviously a little bit different. But evaluate those agents that can sit on your site to simplify the buying process. So that would be what I would add currently, to that question.
Well, you're very boots on the ground. So what signals generally do you look for from operators that are ready to make that leap and really start to automate that workflow for them? And I'm also curious, like when they're coming to you, what are their biggest concerns? Because to a degree, you're handing over to something we talked about in the beginning. Historically, late adopters with a lot of tech. This is now becoming the front end of your business, which is a highly valuable part of potential future business. So there could be some hesitation there.
Yeah. I mean, I think like a very obvious signal is just look at the demographic of your member base. I'm not going to say here like, boomers and older than that don't engage with technology, but if a majority of your member base is Gen Alpha, Gen Z, Millennial, and you don't have high tech or AI infused into it, they're going to look at your brand and be like, why am I working with them? So, I mean, I'll give a plug to one of our favorite customers, Fitness SF. A lot of the AI that we've built has been in collaboration with them. Why is that? They're in the heart of Silicon Valley. All of their members are techies that are in their 20s and 30s that expect high technology. So you can look at some other clubs that maybe have an older demographic. Does AI and concierge and all that stuff make sense? Maybe not right now. But if your members are young, tech savvy, even like in 50s, 60s and engage with technology, implement it because they're craving it. And that's what they want.
When it comes to implementation, what features should be integrated into the workflow from day one? What should we be building into these sites from day one?
I mean, for me specifically, I would say it's your CRM. Your CRM is your backbone to really everything of your organization. It should serve as your single source of truth. But that data within the CRM has to connect with marketing, with sales, with your member engagement platforms. Like if that data is not flowing from point A to point Z and from Z to A, then you're going to miss out on a big opportunity.
Yeah. Tony's spot on. Like a specific feature, like with any platform, has to be integration capability. Because AI, like we said, is like a huge buzz nowadays, but AI does not work well at all if you don't have data. Think about if you go to ChatGPT and you give a simple prompt. If you feed ChatGPT with like personalized data documentation, it's going to give you much better responses. So if you want to like truly use AI to the best of its abilities, get a system that's got integrated capabilities, a lot of integrations out of the box or even custom capability to make sure that you're infusing that AI and making it rich with like real member data, whatever data set that you have at the club.
When it comes to these concierge services or agents, I'm just curious, how much has it changed and evolved from iteration to where we're at now? Because we were chatting just before we sat down, tools that even I've used in my personal workflow are vastly different 3 months ago to 6 months ago and are getting exponentially better. So I'm just curious, where did you start? And then what is the experience like now? Because I'm sure you have feedback from real member use cases now.
I'll say where we started a year, 2 years ago was a hyper focus on enterprise. And in the enterprise, AI required a lot of hand-holding, full service capability. Over the years, last year really, because of how AI has evolved, we've now created a solution that's self-service, which is a huge benefit to SMBs, mom and pops, boutique. They don't have the time, the expertise, the money to go through a 2-3 month deployment for AI. So that's where things are headed right now. Is self-service, ease of use, being able to get an agent up and running, as opposed to what could take months, last year, 2 years ago, to 20 minutes. That's a game changer. And that also goes back to my initial point, being able to dabble in and play around with new technologies. Operators are more receptive to doing that if they can do it quickly and fail quickly. So that's kind of where things are headed now. Self-service, I think, is becoming in some way the new full service.
We'll get back to the conversation, but first, a message from our sponsor. Outperform your competition with a digital marketing strategy from AmericanEagle.com. Contact AmericanEagle.com, a digital agency, to explore how a local SEO strategy, email marketing program, and social media strategy can drive real results for your business.
You talked about CRM, and I know we're heading there because that's your bread and butter. So why is the connected CRM the foundation of every fitness business? You talked about the data.
A lot of examples that we've run into as of late is that we have a lot of data within ABC Fitness or within whatever sort of financial tools that we're using to collect that type of data from our members. And then we have something in place like a HubSpot or a Klaviyo or, Trainerize or something else that is really driving the business forward. But if your HubSpot CRM is not connected to your ABC platform, you're making decisions blindly. You have so much data within ABC around that member that if we can connect the dots to that plus your marketing automation CRM, that personalized experience that we are creating for your prospective members or existing members becomes heightened in a massive way. And to Ron's point earlier, again, whether it's folks who are out in Silicon Valley or it's, just the everyday sort of, Gen Z or Gen Alpha prospect, yes, we expect to be interacted with through technology, but it's not like I'm waking up every day hoping to see that I get interacted with through a specific technology. I just want the experience to be seamless. I want to receive the message when I want to receive it on the platform that I'm going to be interacting on, and make it easy for me to decide on whether or not I'm going to move forward. But none of that can happen if your CRM is not connected to your automation.
But on that note, because we talked earlier how through the sales process with yourself, Ron, oftentimes there's a lot of hoops in regards to the flow of decision makers these decisions have to go through. And that could very well be just protocol. And then at the other side, it could also be that there's not necessarily a level of understanding at one level. And so it has to filter down. And it's because this landscape's changed so much, as we said, and in rapid time. So when it comes to building these systems, we talked about the issues if they're in silos. So explain how easy is it for an operator to transition to a system that is integrated and everything talking to each other? Because there could be a misconception that would be a massive undertaking.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of systems, especially like a HubSpot, for example, have pre-built integrations where it's just literally a click of a button and you're connected. So you don't have to go and, this is kind of our wheelhouse where you build a middle layer to connect two systems that don't speak to each other, and you need API developers to do that. Those days are gone, and actually the future and where things are headed, and this is going to get a little technical, but I'm not like a technical person, so I'll keep it high level, is this idea of MCP servers. I don't know if you've heard of this, but this allows you to connect a lot of different systems in a different manner to APIs, where it was like, syncing things together. This is now happening in real time using AI. So that's kind of what we're trying to build, is the MCP layer for the fitness industry, where you can now connect all these different systems that historically never spoke to each other with just a click of a button, or with just maybe like a couple different simple workflows that are no code, by the way, which is very important. So if before using all the integrations and all that stuff required coding expertise, fitness operators don't have that. Some of them do, but by and large they don't. So you got to find a system that has pre-built integrations that can do it in a click of a button and test very quickly as well to make sure everything works fluidly. So the beauty is HubSpot, Klaviyo, those guys.
Yeah, the APIs exist. And if there's not an API, there's obviously middleware technology like a Zapier that we talked about. And that's a very simple solution. Then, of course, much like Ron had mentioned, DX Factor or even American Eagle can help with building out custom middleware as needed.
Yep.
However, I don't foresee that being probably the first go-to solution in the fitness industry for all the reasons that we mentioned previously, but it is a possibility.
Yep, definitely.
Well, and I know that you both have real-world examples with your fitness clients. So when it comes to creating tighter integrations directly that improve retention and customer acquisitions, what are some examples that this has been really effective?
Yes, I can speak on our behalf for that, because Fitness World is also using Klaviyo, actually, and UFC Gyms is as well, which were big shifts actually from what they were using previously. In fact, Fitness World transitioned from HubSpot to Klaviyo because they wanted simplification, and they weren't using HubSpot to its fullest capabilities because they didn't need to. But having Concierge Agent and the data that's powering Concierge Agent involved with and connected to their marketing automation CRM, which is now powering email and SMS for Fitness World, has been incredibly helpful to making sure that we are not only personalizing that experience with existing members to help create more loyalty, create that personal touch, drive more member engagement, and then most importantly, upsell and cross-sell. But we are also able to really leverage it for those new prospective member experiences. One thing that we're getting to, and I'm sure a lot of operators can relate to this, but when I come into a gym and I'm part of a certain tier, I can bring a friend with me to work out, because who wants to work out by themselves? Nobody. So when I bring Ron in with me to the gym and Ron starts to enjoy the experience, he comes 3-4 days in a row, he takes a couple different classes. On that 4th or 5th day, I want to have technology that will allow me as the operator to send Ron a message as soon as he steps outside of our door and says, hey, Ron, you've been here for the last week. You've taken X, Y, and Z classes that I know because of the member engagement platform that we have. What's holding you back from joining? Why don't you sign up for a gold member, and now you can bring a friend, and then share the benefits of that. So I think without that integration from the CRM to a concierge agent, because now Ron has questions, right? Ron's like, well, I don't know, I'm a little bit on the fence. So Ron pulls up his phone and he starts interacting with what feels like a real person, asking questions. Well, is there a commitment? What does it cost to sign up today? What's the enrollment fee? What are some of my other benefits? He's been given all of that information now through Concierge Agent, and it's all done via text message within the Klaviyo platform. Now, all of a sudden, Ron's decision became so much easier to make. That agent can help guide him through the online enrollment process, and he can become a member.
Well, we've talked a lot about Concierge Agent and this integration, so I'm curious. Well, you have partnered. So talk to me a little bit about what brought this partnership to life, because clearly you realized there was a problem to solve here.
Ron and I have known each other for a handful of years now. We've kept running into each other at all the different technology summits and fitness conferences and this, that, and the other. And so we finally sat down and said, hey, you guys are working with a ton of fitness operators. You guys have a ton of experience in this space. We're not as well known in the fitness space. However, we're just as passionate about helping this industry grow from a technology standpoint. What can we do together? And we quickly identified a couple of swim lanes that really made this conversation easy and brought this partnership to life, where DX Factor is really, really good at building out mobile apps. They're really, really good at those API connectors. They're really, really good at OMAPs and Concierge Agent and some of the other agents that they've built within this industry. We're really, really good at UX and UI design, website development, digital marketing, as well as improving that online user journey and experience to increase conversions. So when we looked at sort of the opportunity to come to market together, we felt that it was literally the exact recipe that a lot of these fitness operators were looking for. We need somebody who can really help improve our user experience and user interface on our website. We know how important it is to build our mobile app. We love this concierge agent idea. How can that integrate with our digital marketing efforts? Well, DX Factor and AmericanEagle.com can absolutely be that sort of one hand to shake in partnership to driving towards your goals.
Absolutely. I mean, to Tony's point, it's a very complementary partnership. They do things very well that we don't do, and then vice versa. And the important thing is, like, our agents that we're now rolling out to the market, they sit on the website. And what better to partner with a company that is stellar at making websites? And I think even separate from that, going back to the earlier conversation about human, wanting more human engagement, everybody that I met from American Eagle is a fantastic human being. You talk to the employees, you talk to the customers, they love working with them, and vice versa, people love working with us as well. So going to the market together with like a company that's beloved, two companies that are beloved, is like a no-brainer type of partnership.
Well, we're heading into, at time of recording, going into the Fitness Technology Summit, and we kind of teed up this entire conversation. This is where operators are coming together to learn more, ask the questions, and potentially make decisions over what their tech stack is going to pivot to going forward. So what would be your biggest advice to operators as they're heading into 2026?
Yeah, I'll answer that in two ways. First way is when you're working with a technology company, features, products, case studies, that's all critical. But do they have thought leadership? Are they educating you? Because AI is moving at a lightning pace. I don't want to just work with somebody that's like, AI, work with us because we have the great shiny new object. I want to work with somebody that has that, obviously, but also can educate you and explain to you why this is important and teach you along the way. Because what happens now versus like a year from now, it's going to be two different worlds. So I need like somebody that can educate me along the way. That would be one. And then, of course, especially in the fitness industry, make sure you're working with a provider that's proven in this space, because this space is very unique. And that's what we've done. We've built like a small language model on top of a large language model, because this SLM is very hyper specific to fitness. You want to work with a provider that understands this space, which American Eagle does very well as also. So that would be the two things: expertise and focus in the fitness world, and also having that thought leadership and that AI focus. Look at the company. Do they have an AI leader in some capacity? That's also a very important thing as well. If they're missing any of those things, maybe take longer to make a decision.
I like that you highlight somebody that's willing to come on the educational journey as well, because I think that's something that's been part of the broader conversation. And I know it was trending on LinkedIn the other day about a lot of these AI companies, AI players, very well funded, people getting excited, and there's not a ton to see once you open the door, which is a trap that you don't want to fall into. And so if you have somebody that's willing to educate along the way, at least you're able to make a smart decision from the get-go versus one that could potentially cost you down the line. What's your advice for us, Tony?
Yeah, I think Ron hit the nail on the head when it comes to having a trusted partner that can educate and advise without asking for money all the time. I feel like, and I was talking to Ron about an example from just last week where working with an operator in the fitness space, and they're having some challenges connecting the dots between their main core website and then when a user goes to a location page on their site and goes into that sort of join online experience, that they lose all of that tracking and attribution. And they were throwing out like 3, 4, 5 different sort of technologies that they were considering investing in to solve this problem. And so we got our analytics team on a call, really understood the root problem, and it was a simple domain cross-tracking domain issue that they were having. that just took somebody that is more of an analytics specialist to go in and implement and fix. And now they don't have to invest in a solution for who knows how long to fix this one problem. And so, I think my point being is you don't always have to invest in licenses or software or technology per se to solve a problem, but you do need to be comfortable consulting with a company in a way that you don't feel like you're just always being sold something. And so I think personally in 2026, before you invest in a solution, you got to take a step back to make sure that that solution is going to seamlessly integrate and connect the data across your entire ecosystem. Because eventually you want to get to a point where technology is invisible, but growth feels effortless because of the technology behind it.
Yeah, and I'll add one point there. Be very wary of the vendor that's so quick to deliver a proposal without understanding your needs, because every business is so different, especially in the fitness space, boutique, enterprise, yoga, Pilates, they're all different businesses. So work with a vendor that truly is listening, asking questions, going through a thorough discovery, and giving you that advice. Sometimes to my detriment, and maybe Dharmesh will get frustrated by this, but we'll consult to a customer and tell them, hey, listen, this is what you need to do, without even giving a proposal. We're giving free advice. That's what we want to do. We want to do what's best for you, because last thing we want to do is overpromise and underdeliver. There's a lot of vendors out here that are like, here's the contract, ready to sign, like, let's move forward. Work with somebody that's listening to you, understanding your needs, and delivering true personalization in a human-like way, not in the AI way.
Nicely woven in there. Ron and Tony, thank you to both of you for taking the time, because I know it's going to be a busy couple of days for all.
Definitely. And thank you for giving me my second podcast opportunity. I appreciate it. You've taken me out of my comfort zone.
Honestly,
You're
I
a
would
natural,
not
buddy.
tell your so that you need to do
He's
this.
a natural.
Thank you.
I
Yeah,
think
I learn from the best.
there needs to be like advice from Ron, some sort of thing on DX Factor's site. It's a missed opportunity otherwise.
We'll make it an AI bot.
I love it.
agree.
I was going to
I
say,
agree.
I want the Ron
Name
AI.
it Ron. Ron B.
There you go. You heard it here first. Ron B AI.
I love it.
Thanks, guys.
You've just listened to MarketFit by ATFW, presented by AmericanEagle.com. Discover how AmericanEagle.com's web development and digital marketing services have been the ultimate game changer for leading brands in the fitness industry. Looking to drive more revenue? Contact AmericanEagle.com today. You've just listened to the All Things Fitness and Wellness podcast, hosted by Krissy Vann. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. We have new podcast episodes weekly featuring industry insiders and influencers. Together, we're on a mission for everyone to live a life fit and well.